When was the last time you encountered wisdom? When was the last time you encountered wisdom? We're going to dig into that today. I've got an amazing guest for you. Welcome to the Navigating Leaders podcast. My name is Gabriel Griess. I'm your host, where we awaken your vision to live boldly. Today in the studio, we have Sonny Gann. Sonny, welcome to the show. Good to have you here.
Thank you, Gabriel, for inviting me to do this.
It's amazing to have you here. So, Sonny, you're the founder of Trellis Christian Counseling and South Lake Town Square, big man of faith, long journey. Mm-hmm. How did you get in that chair today?
We're going to be here a while. So this was so I had two long careers. You know, if you dial it back and kind of dissect how I got here, I started working when I was 16, had a long career with Tom Thumb Stores, almost 20 years, had a break from that for about 6 years. And then I had a long career with AT&T for the last 20 years of my corporate life.
Those are two big brand names everybody understands.
Everybody understands food and telephones, right? So yeah. But
I'm not sure I can't live without my phone more than I can live without food. So
I have counseled people I think would choose their phone over food, but it has been on my heart for years, going back to prior to being in any kind of official capacity, but having the ability and really the desire to just sit with young men and provide some mentoring. And then as I got a little bit older, provided some pre-marriage counseling. And the church that we attended had a ministry called Stephen's Ministry. And so there was a little bit of training that went with that. And so I got trained as a Stephen minister. And I found myself just looking forward to sitting with other people, not to correct, but to just listen. Right? I don't have all the answers. But
I would argue that you probably have a lot of them.
But for so many people, just having a safe space, having a place that they can go and just share life, the vulnerabilities, the challenges, I think so many people many times think that, man, it was such a failure. Well, was it a failure or was it a learning? And so being able to sit with people and just listen became something that I just found myself doing. Even with my AT&T years, I was in a position where I was managing vendors, contract management. And so I would find myself in conference rooms with AT&T attorneys and the vendors' attorneys trying to figure out, how do we negotiate this? And those can be kind of volatile, if you will. I found myself, the answer's already in the room.
So I love it. We've already taken a turn completely. No, we've taken a great turn away from anything we kind of talked about. We'll get back to some of that stuff. But what came up for me as you said that, and it's something that I talk about a lot, is the need to be right. Right. And in this case, if you're in that negotiation, this is kind of a leadership management principle. If I'm in that room, right, with all those attorneys, there's a win. Right. So how do you get to that win? How do you avoid the personality conflicts or the ego and really find a way that all folks come away with a win?
It became, I'm not going to say easy, because it's always a challenge when you've got those egos and you've got, we're talking about large sums of money for a contract potentially. But there's a contract. Everybody signed the contract. These are the things that we agreed to. And now somebody's either in breach or somebody's asking for something outside the scope of work. And so I just let them hash it out. And then at the end of the day, well, this is what both teams agreed to.
Yeah.
So either we need to redo the contract, expand the scope of work, or AT&T, we can't ask them to do that.
Yeah.
So the answer for me, once you get past let's just turn the temperature down a little bit, and let's just get to the answer. It's in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Let's figure out how to get there. So for me, and you ask, how did I get here? I think I used that as a training ground, which I didn't know at the time, but I would be using that environment of discomfort,
Mm-hmm.
uneasiness. I want to win, to do what I do now in a counseling session with a couple.
I can imagine it gets a little heated sometimes there too, and bringing the temperature down.
Sometimes those can be, but once again, the answer's in the room. We just got to figure out, how do we get there?
Mm.
How do we turn the temperature down so that now we can have a conversation? And so I just feel like God's gifted me with the ability to turn the temperature down. Not just by not adding to it,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think sometimes we turn the temperature down by just not pouring more fuel onto it.
When I think you saying that the answer's in the room, right? You're really in the marriage space, and this is an assumption, correct me if I'm wrong, you're really, you're deferring to them. You're like, you guys know what to do. You just haven't been willing to go there yet.
Sure. It's a know what to do, but also know what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think so many times if we can just, that attitude doesn't work in marriage. That's not working. That expression of anger, that emotion, or that lack of emotion, man, that's not working. So we got to figure out, how do we navigate around navigating leaders, right? Navigating marriages.
There you go.
There's your next book.
We'll write together.
How do you navigate that? Getting to that understanding that we can keep doing what we're doing. We can absolutely, and I tell couples that frequently, y'all can keep doing what you're doing and make no progress.
And get the same results.
And you're going to get the same results. And I've had couples come in, and I'll ask them many times on their intake, have you done counseling before? Yeah, once or twice. And so many times, Gabriel, there'll be couples that will come in, and I may be fourth in the line of marriage counseling. My belief is probably the first person they spoke to probably had some pretty good things for them to do. But they keep bouncing, trying to find somebody to fix, to give them something magic to do. What I believe happens in the counseling room, because I have them typically for 50 minutes in a session, am I going to come up with something magical that's going to change everything about their marriage? Maybe not. But can I give them something to do differently? Something to think about differently, between sessions. Because that's where the real
work happens.
That's where the work happens, when they leave and they've got something to do, equipping them with a different mindset.
I luckily I've not. My wife and I have definitely learned and grown and wrestled with things time and time again. And by the grace of God, we've been able to move through a lot of stuff. But I have to imagine that by the time a lot of folks find their way into your office, like there's wounds, there's hurts.
Mm-hmm.
We've now girded up for battle. We're armored up. Maybe we have weapons or phrases or words or trigger things we use to sort of rehash or refight the same battles.
Yeah.
Like, how do you find or help folks lay that down? Or, for Christy and I, we say we're on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you get them to stop being opponents and start being teammates again?
Well, I think there's some things that are very, I'll say common even between your book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that we start with a vision. I ask couples, even Patty and I, we've been married almost 45 years, right? And so one of the things I teach in the workshop or in counseling is, what's your vision for your marriage? What does that look like? Because I think so many times we go into marriage and we're just excited, right? It's the honeymoon, it's the new life, it's getting away from parents, being somewhat independent. But we haven't really thought about, what's our vision for this?
I got the ring. I don't know what it means, but I got the ring. Right.
Got the ring.
Yeah.
But what are we wanting it to look like? And I have to believe because in our first years of marriage, our faith, mine and Patty's faith, wasn't a priority for our marriage when we first got married. It is top priority now for both of us. Our vision back then would have been, we want 3 kids, right?
The American dream.
The American dream. And so, but what's our vision? So, well, how do I come up with that? And so for me, my perspective from marriage is God created it. He designed it, right? He gives us a book on how to do it. And so for me, from a Christian perspective, I said, well, what's God's vision for your marriage? Can we consider that? What do you think God's vision is for your marriage? Well, is it to be kind of the fruits of the Spirit, right? The fruit of the Spirit. I want a marriage that's kind. I want a marriage that's generous, right? And fruitful, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want a marriage that's faithful. And so I try to get couples to think out when they start talking about vision, can it not be about which neighborhood to live in? Can it not be about how do I make sure my kid's going to that school because it's that softball team, right? That maybe, propels them into D1 caliber, right?
Yeah.
Those are tasks. Those are things that we can consider, but man, we can't control much of that. We can't control how generous, how loving, how faithful we want our marriage to be. And is that our vision for our marriage? Things like that, as opposed to the milestones, because we all have them, but what's the priority?
Yeah, for Christy and I, with the kiddos, they're both all so different, and we've found ourselves at times, ruminating or a little bit stressed or worried. Like, are we doing enough? Are we helping them enough? Are they getting the right number of AP classes? Are they doing the right summer camps? Are they doing the right interns? Whatever it is, and we've really taken peace in, God's got a plan for them too, right? They're not. Yeah. I'm not the potter, right? They're the clay. I'm not the potter, right? And so, we get to do our best with them, but even when we screw up a little bit, he's going to get them where they need to be. Absolutely. As long as they're showing up and doing the right stuff each and every day and making good choices, the accumulation of those choices are going to really help them out.
Absolutely.
So you've got 2 children and 5 grandchildren.
4 grandkids.
Oh, 4 grandkids.
Do you know something I don't know?
Well, I don't know.
No, just
maybe
4. Just 4.
Call Patty. Find out if she's gotten word from the family.
Just 4.
Well, congratulations. I'm excited to get to the grandkid stage.
Yeah.
But in your life and in your experience and your business and your walk in faith and your counseling, you had a season as a Sunday school teacher.
Yes.
And you shared a story with me. I love donuts. I don't know a lot of people that don't, right? But I really enjoyed that story, and I wondered if you'd be kind enough to share it with the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I can dial it back just a little bit,
please,
how we got here.
Let's do it.
Is one of the things that I had tremendous fear over growing up was speaking in public or standing up in front of a group of.
Well, I don't get any of that from you now. So.
Man, God has been so gracious, right? But there was a time when just doing this, I would not have been able to do it. But there was a pivot in my life where I just wanted to serve. God put where do you want me to go? Where do you want me to serve? And his answer was incorrect. I want you to help teach 6th grade Sunday school. I'm like, that's the wrong answer.
Well, I want to pause real quick.
Please.
Because you said something that I think a lot of people would resonate with, right? And that's the fear associated with speaking, or the fear of putting yourself out there, or the fear of sharing something publicly that then you could be critiqued or criticized for, right? Yeah. And we talk about this all the time. We coach into it is that what helped you overcome that fear was something way bigger than yourself.
Absolutely.
Right. And so that's the invitation to everybody who listens here, everybody who engages in our online community and Navigating Leaders or reads the books or is in an e-course is like, we're seeking to uncover that vision, right? That purpose in their life that's so much larger than just me.
Right.
Right. And then with that, I have the courage and the boldness to step into this life as I was, preordained to do, to then have an impact that's, infinite. It's way bigger than me. Right. And at that point, now it's like, well, how can I not?
Right.
Right. How can I not if I know that someone, something, somewhere is waiting for me to show up with whatever gift I've been given. So,
Amen.
And you took that into 6th grade Sunday school class.
Yeah. So I was offered up an opportunity to help with 6th grade Sunday school. And so I'll go in there and there's a group of 20, 13-year-olds. And what they did not need was a teacher. The teacher needed someone to provide security, right? To help people not hurt each other, right? Keep the boys under control. And, but that was the thing that propelled me into teaching. And
isn't it amazing how God lets you practice in kind of smaller arenas or smaller stages to work out some of the kinks and explore it to better build your own faith and your own ability, which really isn't your ability, it's his, but like to be like, okay, you got me. You're gonna protect me in this.
Right. And so that began a series. So I taught 6th grade Sunday school for probably 8 years. And then I started teaching junior high, middle school, taking high school, so I saw a lot of these kids, as they got older. But the challenge with teaching Sunday school became getting something that would keep the kids interested at some level, right? And so I went out to the internet, right, and said, I was just looking for something interesting to teach a class. And I came across, and I wish I could give them credit for it. I don't know who wrote it, but I certainly would if I could find them. But they had written a curriculum that talked about the professor, the teacher, walks in with 2 boxes of donuts. But prior to the class, he had to find somebody that could do some push-ups. This is manual, right? And so he found a guy that could do push-ups. And so he started off the class with just asking the first person, we'll say it's Susie. Susie, would you like a donut? And of course,
but you did this in your class too.
So I did this in my class. And so I thought, man, what a great concept, because you're right, Gabriel. Everybody likes a donut, and everybody really likes Patty's fresh made chocolate chip cookies. And so I talked to we had 2 other adults that were Paul and Karen that taught the class with us, because these were high school kids, and said, what do y'all think about this? I said, man, I think this is a great idea. The problem is I got to find somebody that can do a significant amount of push-ups and do them. They can't just kind of say, I can do a few. No, once you commit, you got to do them for
as many as you need.
Everybody. And if you knew my circle of friends at the time, I had nobody. I got nobody that could do that many push-ups. But I had a good friend, and his son was part of the, I'd met him in the class at church. And he could do a lot of push-ups. Just because of what he did in high school. He was a football player and really, really good. So I asked my friend Tom, I said, do you think Matt would do some push-ups for me? He said, if I ask him, he will say no. If Mr. Gann asked him, it could be a yes. So I visited with Matt and shared with him the concept of this class. And he's like, I'd love to do that. And so we had to have a real heart-to-heart conversation though, Matt. You get to decide how many push-ups you're going to do. If you want to do 5 per kid, it's 5, but it's 5 for everybody. You can't do 5 for me and 6 for somebody else. He says, I'll do 10. I said, Matt, you don't know how many kids we're going to have there. We may have 40 kids. He said, no, I'll do 10. And so we agreed to that. Patty agreed to make some cookies to be that thing that the kids would obviously want. And as I was preparing for it, which wasn't part of the original curriculum, I thought, wouldn't it be kind of fun to add something to it? And so I got a backpack and a bunch of golf balls, and I gave every kid in the class and the teachers as well a golf ball. And then as it started, I said, this golf ball represents your sin. Nobody wants to keep their sin.
No.
So then I walked around with a backpack and said, hey, if you want to get rid of your sin, just drop it in the backpack. And so obviously everybody drops this. And so I'll say there were 25 people there. So 25 golf balls in this backpack. And then Matt comes in and he puts on this backpack. And Gabriel, it's our sin, right? It's our sin. And so I went to the first person. I'll say Susie,
and Matt takes it on,
and
he's
carrying the sin. He's got the backpack, right?
Yeah, and he doesn't care what it is. He doesn't care where it came from, or what dark alley or what dark moment in time or what thought or behavior or act. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's all in that golf ball, and now it's on his back.
And now he's got it.
Okay.
It's on his back.
Okay.
So we go to the first person and say, Susie, would you like this chocolate chip cookie that Miss Patty made this morning? And yes, I would. I said, Matt, he'd agreed to do 10 push-ups. I said, Matt, do 10 push-ups so she can have a cookie. And at the beginning, everybody's like, well, that's funny. And then you go to the next person, Bobby, would you like a cookie? Oh, I want a cookie. Matt, do 10 push-ups. And so you just go through this. And Gabriel, we got to probably the 10th student. And now Matt's up to 100 push-ups. And you're looking around the room and he's got quite a few more to do. And he wasn't really struggling, but you could tell it was getting harder. And so I do not want a cookie. Matt, do 10 push-ups because Doug doesn't want a cookie. Do 10 push-ups for the cookie that Doug doesn't want.
Oh,
and
there's a twist.
And everybody's like, well, that's not fair. I'm like, really? That's not fair. And so now then people are trying to figure out, how can because I want the cookie, but I don't want Matt to have to do anything for it.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that something? So we get all the way around, and I'll say there were 20 kids, and Matt's arms were shaking.
Oh yeah,
trying to get that last push up. And he would. I mean, there was a pool of sweat underneath his face, and people were starting to cry. And Patty was telling me, she's one of the teachers, we get it. You can stop doing this. It's like, no, I can't.
It's not how it works.
No, I can't. Because she was getting irritated because, Ryan, he shouldn't have to do this for me to get a cookie, Ryan. And so we got all the way around and almost to the very end. And Matt was having to stop, get a breath, take his time. And so I was doing some teaching during his time to rest. And the door opens to come into the classroom. And the kids right by the door said, you can't come in, because they knew what was going to happen. And I said, no. And Matt said, no, he can come in. Got here a little bit late, but you can come in. So he comes in, and this guy has nothing about what's going on. People are crying. And so.
Do you want a cookie?
I'll call him, Kevin, you want a cookie? He's like, yeah, I want a cookie. And everybody's like, no. Right? And so Matt, he gets through them. And then the teacher's, Paul, you want a cookie? And Paul's like, yeah. Karen, Patty. And so we knew the drill. And Matt was just really struggling to get through it. And so we get through it, and everybody's like, oh. And Matt was just spent. I mean, he was done. And he looks up at me, Mr. Gann, don't you want a cookie? Oh, man. No, Matt, the class is over, right? But because all of us have that invitation, right? So it was one of the most impactful, I think, classes that I ever taught. So much so that Matt, we ended up doing that at a couple other classes, went on a men's retreat, and Matt couldn't be there. He was in California. He goes, man, Mr. Gann, I'd love to do that again. I'm like, well, I'm in trouble then, because the guy over the men's group wanted this lesson for the men. I was like, my oldest nephew happened to be in really good shape at the time, and he still is, actually. So I called Jason, said, Jason, this is what's going on. Would you be willing to do it? He's like, Uncle Sonny, I'll be there. So he came and did it. And I actually had a man get up because he was so mad at me, Gabriel, because he said these words, you can't make him do that. And Jason says, oh, he's not making me do this. Right?
It's a choice.
It's a choice. And so, but going back to how I got here, right? That, what I recognize is if I'm teaching kingdom, if I'm teaching God's word, if I'm teaching truth that lines up with what Jesus did for us, for our salvation, why wouldn't I want to do that in my counseling session for a marriage? Because it's like you said, it's a choice. I can choose that vision for my marriage. I can choose that vision to get out of this addiction. I can choose something better than what I've been choosing in the past.
Well, and that's self-sacrifice, right? And that shows up all day, every day as a husband, as a wife, as a parent, as a community member. There's always a chance to lay down my, expectation and to pick up a burden or pick up an opportunity to just lend a hand, even if it isn't fair or if it isn't right or isn't your responsibility. Right. You still can step into that gap and magic happens.
Oh, it does.
Right. When people see it, they're like, you're not supposed to do that. I'm like, well, I choose to do it. Yeah. And it can make people really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh, it did.
Right. Yeah. Because they're girded. They're ready for the fight, or they're like, you don't get to be nice to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was it was just one of those, and I've got, so many, I think I should write a book, Lessons from 6th grade Sunday school, right?
Are you smarter than the 5th grader? And then lessons from 6th grade Sunday school.
Smarter than it, right? But I think that's where, if we'll pay attention to it, because this is what I believe, is that if I'm preparing to counsel, if I'm preparing to teach, if I'm preparing to write something, I don't do that without him. And so it causes me to reflect on, Lord, what exactly would you like to say through this? What would you like to say through this session? I tell almost all my clients, I can't imagine I haven't said this to you, but so I'm not going to say I've said it to everyone, but I think I probably have, is that I'm a counselor. He is the counselor.
Fair. So I love it. I love it when we get a natural segue.
Very good.
So you said him.
Yep.
So it's not often you get to sit with an author, and it's not often you get to sit with an author of 3 books, but we have 2 here. Him Possible, Him Probable, Him Empowered. Him changes everything. And then Him Paired, Him Mature, Him Part. He still changes everything. So a sequel, right? And this is just amazing information. And so I'd love to hear about Him Probable, or any of them that you because you have a bunch in the book.
Sure.
So kind of walk me through where the counselor steps in to life.
Yeah. Well, this is, thank you for that, because it's so important for me to make sure that it's always about him.
Mm-hmm.
When people tell me today that God just doesn't do miracles anymore,
wrong.
I'm like, have him call me because I get to watch him show up.
Sure.
I get to watch what happens when people will start wanting a relationship with him.
Well, I want to say something
Please.
to this, because something just jumped on me when you said this, and that is you get to watch this, right? Well, one of the things that I've always appreciated about you is how present you are, just how present you are as a person, and I think that's one of the early steps into this work, into this space, into surrender, into growth, is just to slow down and just to stop and begin to quiet the mind, so that now I can have an awareness that I didn't have yesterday. Right. And so that felt very important to share with our team and our people listening here, is like that journey to the awarenesses you're about to share is a quietness of mind and a presence. Right. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be the noise of a rock concert to the sound of a Tweety bird. Right. It can be like the noise of a rock concert to like the sound of a worship song or an instrumental, right? You just bring the noise down a little bit and you'll be able to hear more, right? It's not an all or nothing thing. It's there's a gradience to this where there's a grace that allows you to move closer and closer.
Yeah. And I think that we can get distracted by noise. And
intentionally and unintentionally.
yeah. So I'm trying to think.
Let me turn on the news all day, every day, at volume 90.
I will receive what you said, that affirmation of being present, and the way you described me slowing down. It drives my wife crazy, right? Because she's wanting something right now. And I'm like, let me think about it. Let me process it. Right. And she's like, no, can you tell me right now? And so even our marriage, we're both wired different. And so I think God gifted me with that ability to slow down, because I can, if you take it back to, and I will talk about the book. And
I think slowing down is wisdom, which is where we started this conversation.
Right. Is just being able to, in this moment, I am 100% responsible for what happens in this moment.
Yes, sir.
I heard that from somebody.
Thank you.
Right?
Appreciate that.
And so if I'm going to be responsible for it, what do I want to use it for? Well, if I don't slow down enough to really consider that, I might miss it. I might miss something. And I don't want to miss anything. And the enemy wants me to miss everything, the distraction. And so for me personally, I use this hymn nomenclature. I've created my own vocabulary. It drives people crazy. It's my daughter, Melissa, which I think we'll talk about. She has a master's in Latin and English. And so when I presented her the title of this book,
haywire,
she went crazy. Dad, that does not make sense. I said, exactly. Him changes everything. She goes, no, Dad, it's he changes everything. I said, I know. But and my relationship with him changes everything. And so why can't something be like me being here, being highly improbable? But because of some things we've talked about, is how did I get here? There were conversations that were had, Gabriel, 10 years ago with someone. A conversation that I had with her years ago. Christy, I mean, she wrote some stuff in this book, right, that I put in there as an acknowledgement, right? Neither Christy nor I, either one, had any concept that 10 years ago would land here. How many conversations have happened since then that have created a connection that if we stay in alignment, I love the way you talk about that too. If we have the vision and we align with it, and it's also in agreement with God's calling on our life, I'm more likely to stay in step with him.
Mm-hmm.
And when the enemy starts creating a lot of noise, a lot of distraction, because I'm human, I can get distracted. I can see flashy things. My neighbor's got a brand new truck. I think I need one. Right? I can get distracted by that. Or I can just say, man, it's a nice truck. My car works fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to get caught up into, my mom and dad used to say things like this, and maybe this is good for somebody out there. My mom and dad would say things, Sonny, what in the world were you thinking?
Mm.
Who in the world is that person? Why in the world would you do something like that? But I had this thought a few years ago. It's the world is the problem. So I think, what in the kingdom am I doing? Why in the kingdom would I have that thought? Because it changes my perspective again, is to being him focused, being kingdom focused, knowing that the world's here, the world's until he comes back.
Well,
Right?
and it's this is brilliant. And I've got a conversation to have on this topic with a later podcast, but like, the world's a big game, and there are almost infinite scoreboards.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it be money or the job or the truck or the house or the fashion or the kids in school, whatever it is. Right. And so we begin to play these games by earthly standards and keep score by earthly standards. Yeah. Right. And you can have them at all social, economic, all cultural levels. Like, it doesn't matter where you're at.
You bet.
And in the end, I can't win that game. I'm not going to get out of this game alive. So we all lose, right? Like the old Pac-Man game, like waka waka waka, right? You know, right? Like, sooner or later the ghost gets me, and I'm done. So, so I love that distinction about what in the kingdom versus what in the world.
Yeah. Well, it changes. And if I can, I say if because I wish I'm not perfect at it. I too get distracted.
Mm-hmm.
Life happens. There's a loss of a family member. There's, something happens. And of course we're going to grieve. We're going to do that and get angry. But do I have to stay in the anger? Because if the anger then distracts me back to the world perspective as opposed to the kingdom perspective, I got to figure who do I need to talk to? What worship song do I need to listen to? Where do I need to, what's that daily thing that I need to do to keep me aligned?
Well, and to submit to it, whatever that is I'm experiencing, right? Because I'm being refined.
Absolutely.
Right. Like, he uses all things for my good, even the things that are uncomfortable, even the Brussels sprouts and kale of life, right, are for my good. Right. Yeah. Now, the world now puts bacon on Brussels sprouts, which makes it better. I'm not sure how we use kale and make it better, but that's brilliant, Sonny.
No, it's funny if I can take that really quick,
please,
because I do this marriage workshop, right? And one of the components of it is we talk about what are the things that distract us in our marriage. And one of the slides that I created has this guy and his veins are popping out and he's just screaming at his wife and then the caption is, no Brussels sprouts. And so when you said that, I had this vision of that slide, just, because I'm with you. You can put bacon around it, but I'm still not sure I can get there. So anyway.
As a kid, we had a garden growing up in Nebraska, and we would grow Brussels sprouts. And I always thought they were like little cabbages, and they were horrible. And for whatever reason, they got like dirt and sand in between the leaves. So it was just like, chewing rocks. Like I just couldn't get around it.
Yeah.
They somehow figured out how to raise them better than when I was a kid. But
Yeah.
so tell me more about the hymns and where this impacts life and how folks can use it.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's if there's a word out there, the story that I told about the push-ups and the chapter in the Hymn Changes Everything book is called Hymn Powered, because Matt would tell you at the end of those classes, and he's told me more than once, Mr. Gann, I can do a lot of push-ups. I just can't do that many push-ups in that amount of time.
Yet he does it.
So he knows that there's this empowerment. There's this trust and this belief and this faith that I can do this. I am empowered to facilitate this message for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And so he will. So I think many times we find ourselves asking to be empowered to do something. Well, great. I agree with that. But I want to be empowered. Once again, I want to be empowered for the kingdom, not empowered for the world.
So let's grab that
Please.
and what would you say to the audience? What would you ask them to lay down? What would you ask them to step into to begin to hear that or feel that hymn power?
To be aware of it first.
Okay.
Just to be aware that a relationship with him changes everything. It just does.
But what if I'm unworthy? Or what if he's mad at me?
Yeah. And you can be disorderly, right? But is that your desire? Mm-hmm. Is it your desire to be unorderly, right? Because typically there are choices that we make that either cause chaos or at least feed the chaos, or you use this word earlier, Gabriel. I think it's so important. Or it tends us toward peace. Mm-hmm. In my life, do I want peace? So for anybody out there that's like, I just want peace. Okay. What are the choices that
Start making better choices.
Sonny, make better choices, because it's the choices that I'm making that are either going to provide an avenue, if you will, toward peace. It may not be immediate. Thank you. Now I have peace. It may not be that, but it may be this new desire for peace. And is it really the desire for peace, or is it the need to get away from the chaos? Mm-hmm. Whatever it is, because the desire to get away from chaos can be as motivational as just the desire for peace. But the choices I still got to make choices that are different, because I don't know too many people that wake up in the morning and go, man, I am really hoping for a very chaotic day today. I really hope my marriage blows up today. That's usually not what we want. Yet we will do things by the choices that we make, the words that we use, the attitudes, right, that we project, that fuels this movement toward chaos. Well, we could use different attitudes, different words, different emotion that move us toward peace. Right? Do we get there automatically? No, but now then we've got this different awareness and this different focus to be aligned with. I'm either want to align with peace and the desire for that, or I'm going to keep making these choices and I guess be okay with the chaos. Mm-hmm. But it's getting people to move away from that, because so many people will grow up. You talked about, there are things that happen. Many of my clients come in and they've got stuff that happened in their life as children. But they think that's normal. They think that's their normal. And that's just, well, that's how I grew up. That's the family I grew up in. So I think, isn't that normal for me to parent that way? No, it's just not. But that's what they saw growing up. So now then it's like, it is creating chaos. Mm-hmm. So,
and if they looked back, it probably created chaos when they were kids.
It did.
Yeah.
but it was their normal.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. So as we kind of wrap this up,
Yeah.
what are some like immediate tools or techniques, things to interrupt thought? Like what would you give somebody who just said, "Hey, I just need something to hold on to start this journey"?
Yeah. For believers, for me, because a lot of the clients I have are believers walking in the faith, still struggling.
So
yeah.
So faith and salvation isn't a magic pill. It doesn't make all the world problems and pains go away.
Actually, no.
Oh, darn it. Okay.
Yeah. And I see that in the sanctuaries, because I know that there are a lot of people. There's a lot of marriages.
Yeah.
Sitting in these churches every Sunday, Gabriel, that are struggling,
hurting.
Something's going on in their marriage.
Hurt people.
They walk from the car holding hands. Everything looks good. So to answer your question, is this thought that I'm having, does it add value to me or not? Does this intrusive thought, does it add value? Well, it never has. Okay. So then don't entertain it. What do I do with that intrusive thought? But I always have it. Invite the Holy Spirit into it. Anytime I have an intrusive thought, I'm like, that's not a kingdom thought. But the enemy is going to keep coming.
Well, and we're not our thoughts either, right?
Right.
As long as we're not acting on it, like we can acknowledge it, see it, release it, name it, let it go, send it away.
I can send it away. So I invite the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, that's not a thought that you desire from me. So you can have it. I'm done with it. And I make it sound that simple because it is that simple. I tell people to manage the middle. You manage your thoughts. It's what's in our head and what's in our heart, our emotion in our head. I decide what I look at. I decide what I listen to. I decide the words I use, and the thoughts create those. So if I'm having thoughts that cause me to think I want to use harsh language, I got to do something with that thought.
Well, I listened to something yesterday where they're like, so many people want to like preserve the rainforest or have water quality or air quality, or what about mind quality?
Absolutely.
Like, am I insulating and protecting the 6 inches between my ears, which drives so much? And these thoughts you're talking about, Christy and I have a phrase that is, doesn't need to be said, doesn't need to be said by me, and doesn't need to be said now.
Right.
And unless it's 2 of 3 or 3 of 3, I should probably not be talking about it. Right. I can sit on it for a minute and decide, to your point,
it's discernment, right?
Yeah. What's going to come up.
Yeah.
So Sonny, if folks want to find you out there, if they're looking for counseling, if they're looking for your book, if they're looking to just get more information from you, where do they find you?
The counseling center office is in South Lake Town Square.
Okay.
It's trellischristiancounseling.com.
Okay.
And that, you can submit an inquiry if you just want to visit. I love sitting and talking with people. I do that a lot. And so if it's just a conversation, I can do that. But if you need counseling, and this is what I am fully aware of, is that there are a plethora, if you will, of good faith-based counselors in our area. Not just me. But I wanted people to be able to, if they were looking for a Christian counselor, I wanted to make it easy for them to find one. But there are people that will walk with you through this stuff. And so that would be my hope for people, is that they would lean into God, be kingdom focused. And if something's creating chaos, maybe you need some help to get away from it.
Yeah. The journey, the work is hard. Yeah. But not stepping into the arena is harder.
Yeah.
The results of not taking action is probably going to be harder.
And not settling for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really don't want people to settle for anything less than what God desires for them.
Which is massive abundance.
Massive. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Sonny, I appreciate you being here. This is awesome. You made good on the conversation about wisdom we started with. And so I really appreciate that. And I look forward to future conversations with you about all this.
I am honored to be here in this improbable setting, if you will.
Well, we'll leave it in his hands.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you, Gabriel.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in, listening to Sonny and all the wisdom he shared here, right? Like, what have you put in a backpack? What can you lay down, right? Think about the pain and suffering folks have gone through on your behalf, what Christ has gone through on your behalf. And you don't have to do anything to be a recipient of that other than just to surrender and invite him in. So grateful that you took the time to listen. And if this was meaningful, impactful for you, awesome. If it made you think of somebody, just grab this show, put it in a text, shoot it off in a text or an email. Make sure you subscribe and like and share from whatever platform you're on, because that's how this gets shared and gets out there and helps more folks. And that's what we're here for. And so until next time, I'm Gabriel Griess, the host of Navigating Leaders, where we awaken your vision to live boldly. Thank you. God bless.